Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and a short video unboxing an item that I mentioned on my the Ritchey 50th anniversary Outback frame that I received. And in that video, I talked about how I want to protect the paint finish on that frame. Now, here's the thing. Normally on the road, you get a few chips here and there, no big deal. Arguably, our road frames are equally as important as, let's say, an Outback, which is a gravel frame, predominantly a gravel frame. But any reasonable person would say, yeah, you're probably going to get more rock chips doing gravel riding than you will on the road. So, having said that, none of my other road bikes have any type of wrap on them, but I thought with this Ritchey Outback that I would take the time and the care that I believe that frame deserves. And so what we're talking about is this product here, and someone asked me in one of the comments, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, but they said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'd like to hear more about it. So this is Ride Wrap. Now, they make frame wraps for predominantly on the mountain bike side. And if you ride mountain bikes, you know you're going to have some rock chips here and there, and you probably may even have a crash where you may scrape up some of your paint. So this is a very good investment in the protection of your frame set. So let me walk you through some of the things that are inside the box and the things you should expect when the things you need to do the job you should expect in a kit. And they do a very good job about this. So you're going to get a microfiber cloth with a nice little logo, right? So they didn't waste any opportunity to give you a logo. Then, of course, you can represent them by putting these on your frame. I think that's a cool little idea. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of the things that you really need to do a good job installing the film. So you get your film here, okay? And as I mentioned, this is a road / gravel kit. So you'll get a different kit if it's a mountain bike kit. Okay, so then they make sure that you purchased a road kit. So there's the film. They provide some, let me make sure I put these in the correct way. They provide, some packets for you to clean your frame with. But this is the final step before you apply. Or maybe not the final step. But basically, they stress over and over and over again how clean your frame must be before you start to put this film on. And then they provide a solution that they recommend you put in a squeegee in a squirt bottle, and only 4 drops. So this is very concentrated stuff apparently, but you're going to put 4 drops of this into half a liter or something. I'll get you the measurements in a second. And then you're going to get your diagram and the pieces where they go. Okay, so if you're running a top tube bag or frame bags or anything like that, you'll want to protect that top tube. Keep it nice and new. On my Bianchi XR4, sometimes, I've talked about the KISS method. Sometimes just simple stuff. So I've either put black electrical tape down just behind the stem, or I've put just packing tape down and then put my top tube bag. Because the longer your rides get, or if you're in the desert like I was for the 300K, you're going to get sand kicked up. And that sand, believe it or not, only takes, 10, 20 grains of sand underneath your top tube bag to start scraping on your top tube. So it looks janky. I know it, but you know what? It's only underneath the top tube bag. The rest of the time, I don't need a top tube bag. I pull off the tape. It's done. Okay. But here we go, protecting your top tube. Obviously, your down tube and your chain stays are going to get the most rock chips, but they provide a few other pieces so that you can protect here when your wheel is turning. I'm sorry, I guess it goes this way. It'll kick up dirt into your seat tube, the back of your seat tube, and then of course your seat stays. So everything is provided for you, to include a squeegee. And they talk to you about the process of putting on the insulation solution and squeegeeing out as much of the air as possible. So I just want to hit some high points on their directions, which, by the way, come right on the box. So you don't have to log on line, get a PDF and all that stuff. It's all right here. Now, I know we live in the information era. I know we live in a digital era, and everything is accessible via phone, laptop, of course, but desktop. But sometimes, isn't it nice to just have something right there to read? You don't have to log on. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. You don't have to have a cell phone with you. You got a nice, simple diagram. I mean, kudos to them. This probably cost them more money to make their packaging all-inclusive. Like, this is all you need, except some water. But this is all you need. So I like that. And everything that you buy these days, there's always a QR code. Is that what they call them? A QR code where you scan that, and then that takes you to the website. And yeah, enough about that. All right, so let's just talk about some of the highlights here. So one of the things that they stress, obviously, is for it to be clean. But it makes the most sense to do this when the frame is new. I've got this Outback that is brand new. It's never been, no components or anything have ever been installed on it. So, I mean, they don't even want you to, well, it's not that they don't want, they recommend that you would have a completely new frame and clean. And it just makes sense. You don't have your crankset in the way, your chain in the way, you don't have any other components in the way. So it's just much easier. If you are a do-it-yourselfer and you do stuff like this at home, it would make sense to tear down the frame as much as possible so nothing gets in the way. I mean, any inadvertent bump against your chain, against something that, has been used, and also fingerprints and stuff like that, you just want to avoid all of that. It makes a nice, clean installation if it's a new frame. All right, so we're gonna go over that. This I also found interesting. They recommend a 24-hour drying time frame. In my opinion, this would be something you do, a week before you travel out to, I guess it's not called Dirty Kansas anymore, whatever it's called now, Unbound, I guess, or BWR, or any of these events. Do that, let it dry, then pack your bike, then ship your bike, right? So you got a multi-day process that you have to plan ahead for. But same thing, Thursday night, probably the last night you want to be able to do that, so it dries Friday and you can ride Saturday at your favorite loop with your mates. Okay, so 24-hour drying time, and they say they include some extra pieces. And yes, it was it It's 4 drops of that solution to 1 liter of water. So this stuff must be super concentrated. But it says, too much concentrate, you'll have this issue. Too little concentrate, you'll have this issue. So just follow their instructions. And it also recommends that you have a hair dryer, which I always keep a hair dryer because I'm always putting frame protectors, chainstay protectors, frame protectors for brake housing and shift housing, or any of those things that are going somewhere around the head tube. You got to protect all that stuff. And then of course the chainstays. Of course they recommend in a clean area. Dust can be an issue. We know that. Think of it like a clean room for electronics, or think of it maybe like a paint booth. You just want it super, super clean when you go to do this installation. A couple other things that I thought were interesting. It says to do it between a 63 Fahrenheit and 80 Fahrenheit, or 17 to 27 Celsius. That's something you probably can't control unless you're in your living room and you've got your air conditioner on and you've got that set temperature. A lot of times the garage is hotter than actually outside if you don't have the ventilation, and you'll be well over 80 degrees. But that's what they're recommending. Then, yeah, it's right here. Clean, clean, clean in bold print, right? So they're just constantly recommending that you clean it. The final cleaning step is to wipe the entire frame with the Ride Wrap cleaning wipe. This step is crucial, and so on and so forth. Tells you how to install it. There's a couple of things that I also thought were interesting. Their warranty is 10 years against yellowing and cracking. Yeah, that's pretty good, because if you're thinking about, paper that you would laminate your a document with, I don't know that would last 10 years from without yellowing. But it's also, it says, it's durable. Go out and just ride your bike and beat it up. And they also tell you how to remove it. And they say, to heat it up with the heat gun so you can kind of peel it off little by little. Because they say, it's been on your paint finish for so many years. Let's just say years. When you go to peel it off, if you just haphazardly just peel at, you might damage your paint. So all of that is written here. They give you the disclaimers. They tell you how to put it on, how to take it off. So that's super, super informative and helpful for you to get it done. Now, last thing before we go. I have just a tiny bit of experience with wrapping frames. So this frame here, I wrapped myself. What I did was I got some wrap that they use for cars, and I purchased that and I wrapped it myself. And then I had a customer, really great customer and friendship that was established. One day he was just walking down the street and I'm like, with his mountain bike, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, I had a flat and then I'm out of CO2 or something, whatever it was. Sealant is blah, blah, blah. And I just happened to have some CO2, aired them up, and then we've been friends and customers ever since. But he did the actual graphic work for me. So that's, of course, my business, my mom's name, and a breast cancer ribbon because my mom died from breast cancer. So, I always try to do little touches like that. Like you see on my clothing, you'll see the breast cancer ribbon right there. But yeah, so I wrapped this bike, and I got a general idea of how to do this, and I made quite a few mistakes because it was my first wrap. But okay, that's all for today. Just wanted to take you through the unboxing of a, hey, Rick Liang, I'm thinking about you. I am moving away from the floodlights and spotlights. But I just wanted to unbox that. And if anyone is considering wrapping their bikes, I haven't put this on yet, so I cannot endorse it as a product. This is just an unboxing. I also paid for it with my money. I should have said that from the outset. It's not a sponsored gig. So I have no reason to promote this other than I have a personal interest in protecting my frame. So your mileage may vary. It may work for you. It may not work for you. But I'm going to give it a trial run. I hope that my lovely assistant, Jess, can do some video of me applying it, and we can continue this process of the Ritchey Outback build. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. If you have not subscribed, please do. I still, I look at the analytics, and I know that there's quite a few folks that watch the channel and have not subscribed. The percentage of subscribed and unsubscribed, there's quite a disparity. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.